Hi, students. It just barely struck the clock at 11, so we will wait a little more time for the rest to join. That doesn't mean we don't appreciate your punctuality. Thank you for coming and bang on time.
Hello, everyone.
Ninad, whenever you think we should start, you let us know. I think we should give a little more time.
We are at 11, ma'am, already. So
We're at 11 already. Okay, you want to give 2 minutes so that they don't miss out on the case studies to the other children?
sure, ma'am, no problem.
And Ninad, if you could just make a list of who's present so we will accordingly know which children are not the ones we have to go through.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
So it feels so exciting, Amy, right? To see children, we just see them on their forms and then we suddenly actually get to meet them. I always get very excited to know, I mean, is it what I'm thinking or are they different?
Yeah, it's always a really fun experience. Can actually all of you guys turn your videos on? That would really just help put faces to some names.
Yes, children, please put your videos on. This is a very small group and we're going to try and make it as personal, as interactive, and as beneficial to you. So having your face, being able to converse with you will be very important to us. Okay, we see no videos
Yeah,
on.
no videos are on. Can you guys please turn your videos on? Thank you. Thank you, Vyom.
All right, I think we should start. What do you think? Thank you. There's literally one child. Vyom, really appreciate you switching on your video. We're not going to chew you. We're not here to judge you. We're just having a moment to meet you because that's what admissions officers will be doing, right? If you're applying to college. So come on, kids. We don't care what your background is or if you're still in bed.
It's
We
okay.
love you nonetheless.
All right.
Okay. Nina, should I start?
Yes, ma'am, we are good to start.
All right. So good morning, everyone. I know it is your time to sleep. Saturday, Sunday is probably not the time. Thank you, Divyanshi. Saturday, Sunday is not the time that you want to get so more serious, but I still appreciate that you've taken out time to be with Amy and me today. Quick introduction. My name is Priyanka Bhartia. I've been a journalist by profession, founder of Admission Specialist, managing director to Accept You. And what I love doing is working with students. What I promise to do is hopefully get you into a college abroad, which is of your dreams, or in India. As long as it's something you dream of, hopefully we can get you there. Let me introduce you to my very close friend, Amy. I think we've been working together for quite a few years now and become closer. What I will first tell you is about Amy's professional expertise. Again, a writer and editor, worked with the top IB schools across India, has phenomenal experience of traveling across the world, as you can literally see. Yeah, she is Canadian citizen with tiny eyes and living in India, married here with a beautiful life of veganism and cats around her. So she's just gone through a bit of a sad turmoil. She lost one of her cats, but even after that, she's here because she cares for each one of you a lot. With that, let me talk a little about profile building. Why profile building? Profile building essentially means allowing some college to understand who are you? What do you like in terms of the subjects, in terms of passion? So what we like to call aligned and non-aligned profile building. And aligned profile building means I love math. I've done math competitions. I participated in math hackathons. I'm the topper in my school. I've started a game which is related to math, all aligned. But let's say you're really passionate also about dance. I love Kathak. I started doing Kathak at an early age. I have done my Arangetram. I want to see if I can combine jazz and Kathak together. Non-aligned. Okay, so profile building, how does it add value to you? Colleges are not looking for nerds and geeks. You may be the best student, mediocre student, or lower grade student. Point is, they want to see what do you bring to the college and what does the college bring to you. Both very, very integral importance, which can only be shown by your profile. So now instead of wasting more time, because what we realize is a lot of you all are grad 2024, 25 students, we're actually going to show you case studies of how children built their profile building through us and then got into the colleges. So without much ado, Amy, you can start with your case studies first.
Great. Thank you so much, Priyanka, for that wonderful introduction. I'm very happy to be here, everyone. Ninad, can you please move on to the case studies? Thank you. All right. So this student who I worked with was really interesting. She actually happened to be a gap year student. Now, does everybody know what a gap year student, what does that mean? Someone taking a gap year? Anyone?
Children, you can unmute yourself and answer, please.
Yeah. Okay, I'm assuming that means nobody knows what a gap. So basically where you take a break between your senior year and entering your first year of college, where you take a little break because maybe you want to reconsider what it is that you'd like to actually study at university, etc. Now, I know that this is not particularly something that's very popular at times. A lot of students don't think that this is something that they should be doing. But this student, however, was coming, this is right after COVID. So there was a lot of uncertainty in the air. And this is why she decided to take a gap year. Now, what's really important for all students, especially for gap year students, is to make sure that you're able to demonstrate, right, and show colleges, what have you been doing with your time? Right? How have you been spending this 1 year between your senior year and entering college? What have you been doing? So when she came to me, she actually had been doing a lot of she was interested in gender and women's rights in particular. However, what she studied at during high school was primarily business oriented. So during this gap year, when I was looking at what she was doing and what she was interested in, I was like, well, why don't we look at potentially like honing a lot of your experience into starting up perhaps, a Girl Up chapter, which is a female empowerment sort of organization. I also encouraged her to write and collate an anthology. And the reason why was because she also really enjoys writing. She's a brilliant writer. So what she did, which we kind of came up with this idea as a passion project, was for her to collate a bunch of different pieces of writing and letters from female writers all over India, right? And she collected all of them, wrote a piece herself, and then published this, right? Self-published this. And it was really quite, I think, an engaging experience for her, because not only was she doing something that she was passionate about, she was working with and meeting really interesting people from all over India, obviously virtually, however, making an impact in that way, right? Representing female writers from all over India. So as you can see, impact really matters, right? How are you actually affecting your community? These are the kinds of questions you definitely want to ask yourself. She also wrote a research paper where she explored female representation in Hinduism, so looking at goddesses, right? And comparing that to how we actually treat women, the reality of a lot of females being treated in everyday life, right? And why is there this big disparity, right? Which was really interesting as well, right? Delving deeper into something that she's really, really passionate about. And on top of that, to help her really gauge and understand if this is what she wanted to study at university, I encouraged her and got her to take some online courses from reputable institutions on gender and women's studies, right? Now, she had a bunch of things as well that weren't really aligned, but again, spoke about her intellectual curiosity, which is very important. She also engaged in some sort of research analysis, right? Analyzing social and cultural factors that would affect whether or not someone would get vaccinated against get their COVID vaccine, basically, which is not exactly aligned. However, it demonstrated that she has an interest in research and she enjoyed it, right? She actually genuinely enjoyed it. She also happened, because she loves writing, she's president of her literary association, continued her passion for dance. She ended up actually writing her essay on, as a dancer for 10 plus years, how watching a group and dancing with a bunch of women in her group really led her to kind of see how dance can be a means, or anything can be a means, to uplift people, marginalized communities, out of perhaps their situation, right? And give them an outlet, or give them opportunities that perhaps they would not have had. And she also happened to be a volunteer for the Young Entrepreneurs Program, which is more aligned with what she studied at the high school level, right? So on top of that, there are a bunch of other leadership opportunities that she took on during high school, which is important for all of you guys also who are looking at, should I get involved in more extracurriculars at school? Doing things that you enjoy, right? Student council, all these things are taken into account. Yeah, you can move on to the next case study. Any questions? Anyone?
Students, this is completely interactive. You can see it's a very, very small group. You can just unmute yourself, keep your videos on, ask questions. Do not hesitate at all, because after this, once the case studies are over, we're going to take each one of you individually and discuss it as well. So, just thought I'll tell you.
No questions, anyone? No? Okay, well, I guess I'm going to move on. So the next student that I'll be presenting came to me in 11th grade, and she was quite interesting because she's very clear that she wanted to study business, and she really enjoyed the subject. She was also a very strong student academically, and when I was working with her, she ended up getting a decent SAT score. So all these things are also taken into account. Now, in terms of her profile building, it became very clear that she's very passionate about sustainability, right? And in particular, she had already started her own project related to sustainable farming practices. So that's kind of what we really wanted to highlight as her passion project, right? How she impacted the community and what she learned from the process. She ended up writing her essay primarily based on actually this big passion project of hers. So a lot of times in the college application process, students are very confused about what they should be writing about in their essays. Well, here's the thing. You need to have experiences and a lot of leadership opportunities and extracurriculars that you're particularly passionate about, that you're really interested in. So you can bring your own story and tell the admissions officers, this is what I've learned and this is who I am from these experiences. All right. So having things on your profile and activities that are meaningful are incredibly important, right? This student also, because she had an interest in business, particularly loved business analytics. So she interned, I recommended that she intern, and she did get an internship at an IT firm, and that gave her a lot of context and understanding into what exactly does a business analyst do, all right? The other thing that she also did was found a business management and finance club, which really, again, was aligned with what she wants to study, which would be business, right? And on top of that, highlighting a lot of her leadership sort of skills, I would encourage her to speak at various sustainability events at her school or even within her community. So there'd be like World Organic Day, and she would volunteer herself to speak at these events, and sometimes even was asked to speak at these kinds of events because of her experiences. On top of that, another great way to supplement, especially if you don't have sustainability as a course, right, at the high school level, is to take online courses in your own time, right? Self-directed study, independent study is a great way to show that you are intellectually curious and you are not afraid to delve deeper into something beyond what's taught in the classroom. Can we move on to the next slide, Ninad? Thank you. Now, there's a lot of also non-aligned activities. She ended up writing a research paper on the mental health of senior citizens. This is just something that she was interested in. And to kind of better connect it with her and what she enjoyed doing, she's also a dancer, happens to be a dancer, and a Kathak dancer, actually really loved it. So I was like, well, because her findings showed that a lot of senior citizens did become increasingly lonely and during COVID-19. So what she ended up doing was to gather them. She hosted a dance performance and kind of brought them together, right? On top of many other things that, including like training emergency medical sort of teams on how do you actually deal with senior citizens, right? And again, continued her passion for dance, co-founded an alumni mentorship program. Obviously, the student really enjoyed leadership roles. So she really took initiative and enjoyed doing things like connecting people within her school, and was a volunteer, a student council, house captain, and really enjoyed sports as well. So continued with basketball throughout all 4 years of high school. So all of these things, as you can see, the student was very well-rounded, but at the same time, having aligned activities was very important, right? To be able to give evidence of your interest and why you want to study what you say you'd like to study. All right.
Thank you, Amy. So before I move to my cases, I actually want a quick unmutes from children who are looking to apply to USA. Just a quick yes, no. Kids, there's no point us doing something unless we understand. Yes, Maulik, you said something?
Yeah, I am looking to apply to US.
Got it. Thank you so much. Anybody else who's looking at US predominantly?
Yes, ma'am. Me too.
Got it, Vyom. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Nina, just write that.
We too here are evaluating US as one of the potential countries.
Yeah, perfect. Potentially we're discussing Kaushal. Agreed. So Maulik, Vyom, Kaushal. Perfect. Anyone looking at UK as a bigger priority? Anyone?
For us, it is UK, US, and Canada, ma'am. These three we are like very seriously looking at these three countries.
Okay, nice. Thanks, Kaushal. So UK, US, and Canada. Perfect. So is there anyone who's only UK or only Canada or anywhere else, like only India?
Ma'am, I'm looking for Australia.
Australia. Got it, Kannan. Thank you so much. Appreciate your answering.
I'm looking for
So
only
when
India.
you're... Sorry, Advika?
I'm looking for only India.
Got it. And in India, what kind of colleges are you looking at? STEM-based, or are you looking at more liberal arts like Ashoka and...
Ashoka University, Kriya.
Got it. Got it. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm assuming the rest, Parishi, Divyanshi, Ananya, Adi, any answers, please?
Ma'am, I was looking forward to UK, US, and Canada.
Got it, Parishi. Thank you. Divyanshi?
Ma'am, I was looking forward to only India and if possible Canada.
Nice. Interesting. Okay, Divyanshi. Nice. Ananya, Adi, more or less?
I'm looking forward for only India.
Got it, Ananya. Again, India STEM or liberal arts?
What, ma'am?
Are you looking at the liberal arts colleges like Jindal and Flame, or are you looking at the standard colleges like?
I'm looking forward to IIM Indore.
The IIM Indore. Okay, got it. Okay, perfect. Adi? Adi, excuse me. Okay, I don't know if he's there. All right, great. Thank you so much. So that, yes, Adi.
Good morning, ma'am. Can I talk to you after 15 minutes?
Sure. Okay, so that, most welcome, Bacha. So with that, let's move to the next case study, because these students now are also looking at UK and Canada as well, along with US. Now, this particular child applied to UK, Canada, and Stanford, and she got into Stanford. Now, I don't think I need to tell you all Stanford is really big. She came to us in grade 11, and here's what she thought she was interested in. She loved computers, she loved math. So while Amy focused on the humanities and social sciences, I'm going to go more in STEM, which is science, technology, math, and physics and engineering, okay? Or bio, actually. Now, aligned. She had done a Java course. We told her, why not do an online course? One of the Harvard courses, which is a 6-week course, was fantastic. She was also the head of journalism. So naturally, we got her to write about girls and science, because a lot of times, especially she comes from a CBSE background, she said how often girls are said, oh, you can't do math. So she spoke about girls in computers, girls in math. She loved baking during the whole COVID, because all these kids came to us during COVID, so we keep talking COVID. She realized she wanted to bake for families who were struggling. Okay, and they had cases in their house. So we got her to make a small little baking calculator to calculate the cost. So let's say if you have to use almond powder instead of maida, how did the cost change? And that was really interesting because a lot of people ended up using it. She loves swimming. So we got her to see if she could write a paper on swimming and what is required. Genetically, what do you require to be a good swimmer? Then, of course, she developed the baking products for a non-profit. So what are the right nutrients that go? If there was a sports player, what are the right goods that he could eat or she could eat? And of course, she loved art. So she was working with a non-profit with art. And we tried to get that into a little auction where all the children, they were basically lower privileged and lesser able students who then put up a little art show. She ran her media pages about mental health, as well as teaching baking in a non-profit, but that's fine. What made her stand apart? When she came to us, she was very clear. I want to do something with science. I want to go abroad to study. If possible, I would love to get some sort of a scholarship, right? So in Canada, she got a full scholarship at U Toronto. UK really doesn't give much scholarships, as you will see, but she then got into Stanford, took a loan and went ahead to study there and is doing really well there. Okay, so that's her case. Let's move to the next case. Okay, next case is interesting. This child actually came to us much earlier, and he was very passionate about lots of things. Again, as you can see, he's got into the top colleges in UK, got into the top colleges in US, got high financial aid, which was important to him. Very clear love was math, economics, and business. Now, he realized that he could not find any research on economics and policy. He started working with solar power. Children, you might realize one of the few things that Amy and I are constantly talking about, and it's very big, very, very big in colleges, whether India or US or UK or Canada. Okay, even the top India schools have published now, what are you doing for sustainability? What are you doing for diversity? So if you believe you have a stance in against gender discrimination or against any kind of discrimination, that's good. If you have a stance in environment and sustainability, that's fantastic. Okay. So this child started working with solar power for a non-profit. He went on to launch his own chapter of non-profit. If you start your own non-profit as NGO, you start your own NGO that has a lot of value. He eventually wrote a research paper on rural India because he had visited so many villages that he could write a paper. Now, a lot of you might wonder, what is research? Why do we have to write a paper? Because CBSE doesn't allow you to do research. But more and more colleges, if you're looking for scholarship, if you're looking to get into a good college, will try to see what ability do you have to do research? Because at the end of the day, whatever you study in the world, you will have to do some amount of research. I've seen that a lot of you children are also into sports. This child was also into sports, and he went on to do a little internships as well, which is very important. None of you all really spoke about internships, at least the children I saw. You will turn around and tell me there are no internships available, but use your contacts, use your parents' contacts, go and do a work shadow, because working with someone is very important to colleges, so that you come to them understanding what the real life holds as well. Again, leadership, house captain for his school, writing articles, part of the editor was very important. Okay, so these are my two cases. With this, Ninad, you want to shut the Ninad, you could shut the presentation, please. Yes, now we can see all of you. Children, videos on, please. We can't have a conversation without seeing you. We're
Yeah,
relying on you to see
please.
us as well. Thank you. Thank you so much. Kaushal, for constantly keeping your video on. Vyom, thank you. Parishi, thank you. Advika, Divyanshi, Ananya, Maulik, Adi, Kannan, Pratha, please have your videos on.
Please have your
Keep
videos.
yourselves mute. Thanks, Advika. All right. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take each one of your cases individually. And based on what you've told us now, we'll have a discussion of what we think could be your profile, could be your essays, and we'll ask you, where are you applying? What are you doing? Okay. So this is going to be an interactive. Please be ready to have your videos and your mics ready to be used. Okay. Kaushal, let's start with you. Kaushal is Amy, is that you?
Ma'am, actually, I am Parishi's father. Parishi is already there. So I would appreciate if you could direct your questions to her, please. I'll
Perfect. Thank you.
unmute.
Didn't know that was a parent. Sorry, my bad. Okay, so Parishi is mine or yours, Amy?
Mine. Hi, Parishi. How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I just wanted to know, kind of what potentially are you interested in majoring in?
I'm looking forward to do neuropsychology specifically through neuroscience.
Through neuroscience. Okay, interesting. And are there any colleges in particular you're looking at?
None right now, but I would look forward to applying to UK, US or Canada.
Right. That's good to know.
Or you will be applying to UK, US and Canada, or UK, US or Canada?
Not decided yet.
Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. Now, so I can see that your interest, like the subjects that you really enjoy are biology and chemistry, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I guess the neuroscience definitely does make sense here. I can see that. Something that actually really stood out for me when I was reading your questionnaire was that you are passionate about, or you enjoy Indian classical music and practicing that.
Yes.
How long have you been doing that for?
So we are supposed to complete 7 years in Indian classical music. I've completed 5, and I'm going to go ahead and complete the 2 years as well.
Wow, that's great. So you're continuing with that. That's I'm really happy to hear that, because consistency is very important. So what I was thinking when I was looking at your profile was that perhaps you could look at, because when you also responded to some of the questions, it seemed like you were really passionate about, how mindset is so important, right? And changing your attitude is so important. Perhaps you could look at combining something like your experience with Indian classical music and how you can use something like Indian classical music to really alter your mindset, how it can put you in a certain state of mind that's calming. So you could create a sort of organization or something that really focuses on using Indian classical music to help better other aspects of your life. Right. Now, because you also talked about rags and like balance, I think it really can help with things like mindfulness, right? People use meditation. Well, for you, you could do like Indian classical music as a means of achieving, mental balance, or like, improving your mindset, right? And teaching or showing people how that's possible, right? Maybe not teaching, but showing and sharing your love for Indian classical music as a result. Yeah, that's something I thought you could do for your profile. Now, yeah. Sorry?
It's definitely a very good and innovative idea.
Yeah, because it's definitely something you're interested in. And again, because you sounded like you were so clear that you can change your mindset, right? Anything's possible as long as if you change your mindset, right? And you really try. So I think if we can combine those two aspects that really came out of your questionnaire, that would be a really great idea for you. Yeah.
Can I butt in here a bit, Amy?
Yes, please do.
One thing I'd like to know is, Parishi, how's your school? Do they allow you to have a club?
Right now I am in grade 11.
Mhm.
So like it's just a start. We are going to start in June. So as of now, I don't think there are any clubs.
So you know what you could do is leadership, beta. So one of the key things Amy focused on is when you write your essay, and if you say, I'm interested in neuroscience, and here's what I did with my initiative, it could be small, 3 people, 4 people, mental health. But if you could also look at doing something with leadership, maybe you start a club, okay, in your school, be a founder of neuroscience club, where children actually read maybe papers written by other neuroscientists or in colleges and analyze it and do a case study analysis. This will allow you to even demonstrate your interest when you apply to colleges. That, you know, I went to Northwestern University, I pulled up this paper, I analyzed Dr. XYZ, and we came up with this. That's beautiful because it aligns so well, shows your interest in reading a research paper, even if you can't write one. Eventually, of course, if you could work or do a job shadow with a neuroscientist or in a pharma industry or in a hospital, that will really add value to you as well.
Right.
Right. And Parishi, you luckily have time. You're in grade 11. So of course, if you want to reach out to us, then what we will do is we'll help you not only make your profile, but we'll also help you pull up your college list. And I'm assuming this is dependent on finance, funds, ranking where you get in, etc. So, you know, sure, we can work that out. And I'm so appreciated that your dad's here as well. So that's a little from our side for you, Parishi. Any questions for Amy or for me?
I don't think I have any questions right now, but if my dad has some, he can ask.
Thank you, Parishi. Amy and Priyanka, thank you so much for organizing this. I just have to call out before I ask my questions. I did see the initial question that you have circulated to the students. I have to say that it's an amazing collection of questions. I found it very interesting even at my experience and at my level as well. And I thought if something like that would have come to me at the age at Parishi is, it would have completely given me a very different perspective. It would have helped me know myself much better at that tender age. So amazing job
Really
done there.
appreciate that, Kaushal. It means a lot to both of us.
Yeah.
Yep. My question is more specific about neuroscience. I know that my daughter has chosen a field, rather she's inclined towards a field which is very niche, and at least both me and my wife, both of us are professionals. We are chartered accountants. We do whatever research we've done, what we've seen is neuroscience. Ultimately, it has to lead to doing a PhD research, and which will eventually take the person to the pinnacle of the career for the path that she's chosen, right? And India, unfortunately, at this point in time, I do not see a lot of inclination of the institutes or the colleges or the universities who have orientation towards research, ma'am, right? And Parish is very specific that she doesn't want to be she doesn't want to take the medicine route to become a neurosurgeon or a counselor. No, she doesn't want to do that. She is very specific that she wants to do neuropsychology with applied research more on the industry application. She's toying with the idea of, okay, how can psychology and artificial intelligence correlate to each other, and human cognition and all that, like very
Kaushal, your question is, yeah, your question is very specific. I don't want all the children to have to go through that.
Okay, sure.
We will answer your question separately. We will do a call with you and answer it, but very wisely said that India doesn't allow that many opportunities for research, but we will talk to you a little later. Today, let's just focus on the profile building. Yeah, but thank you, Kaushal, and we'll definitely fix a call with you to answer that separately.
Makes sense, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So my college offers a subject known as IPQ, which is basically a kind of research paper subject where we have to write a 1500-word essay about a topic that we can choose.
Right.
So I've opted for that, and hopefully by the end of 11th grade, I'm supposed to submit that paper as well.
That sounds good. Good choice. All right, let's move to the next kid. I'd like to choose Pratha because that's one of my forms that I've analyzed. Pratha, are you okay to unmute yourself and video on?
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Thank you. Lovely. So Pratha, same questions for you. First, I want to know, you're applying, you're in grade 11 as well. What is the subject you're interested in? What major do you want to do? I know you love sciences, but what major do you want to do?
Actually, when I was thinking about what to do, I want to do designing, like UX UI designing, which is an upcoming field. So I was thinking of that more. Like I love designing, I love painting, I love drawing. So this is what I have been doing from grade
Wow.
1. So I want to do that.
Very cool. And again, which countries are you thinking you will be applying to? You can mention India, others, whatever you want.
Yeah, so India, US, and UK.
Okay, perfect. Now with that, obviously, let me do your profile analysis. So I've seen that you said I've always loved studying science, mainly chemistry. And I love the way you say in chemistry, I love everything taught in the subject. Now that's such a beautiful way of giving a subject a respect. And that means a lot to me. And, you know, it's very interesting how when you look at, I know you don't like studying machines, but when you're looking at design, you also talk about Bharatnatyam and loving design, painting, and you relate. Okay, so if you're looking at design, it's very important that you have a portfolio of some kind. Anyone looking at anything with art. Now, when we talk about a portfolio, it can't just be paintings, right? It can be products that you've designed, logos that you've designed, company that you've worked with, social media that you've done, and a little write-up about each one. Why did you do this? What was the genre you used? How did you analyze it? How did your design and analytical skills help to upgrade that company or that product? Remember, it's always about the value addition you bring. Okay, so that's very, very important. I love the fact that you bring design and chemistry together. Now you sound like a typically completely US child, where if you could study chemistry and design, okay, so it's a tangible, non-tangible combination, which is very exciting. I'd love to see how you use chemistry to define your Bharatnatyam or to define your design. Okay, so for example, it just strikes me, one of the children wrote an essay about, I love atoms and molecules. And she goes about making a whole equation of chemistry with different atoms of different molecules of her life. So some of her atoms and molecules included, she was asthmatic. So she speaks about asthma and how the inhaler helped her, that's chemistry. Then she speaks about she loved art like you, and she speaks about her love for color pencils and crayons. And as soon as how any kind of paint touches the canvas, the smell it gives. And she brings that down to chemistry. And it was the most spectacular essay. Of course, she got into all the top colleges with complete financial aid. But I'm just telling you that that's how interesting it can be.
Okay.
Right? And you could choose chemistry to mean atoms and molecules and equations, or it could be, you know, just solving different problems. It could be even different compositions of materials, right? So you could choose your art and go into materials and chemistry. So that's very interesting how you combine it. It could be a research paper, it could be YouTube videos. You talk about your love for chemistry and how it combines with everything. I also saw you spoke about concentration as something you were not the happiest about. You think difficulty in focusing. Love it. Love that you were so openly being able to talk about how motivation is so important and how we break down sometimes when we're not motivated. Now, that is what I'd like to say is you're non-aligned. Mental health is real, beta. It's come to stay with COVID. Okay, we all are facing it. You would be surprised how many children are saying we're not getting motivated. So you should be able to talk about this. Talk about it in your school, talk about it in a social page, talk about it in your community, give little conversations, or help people be able to design what they think is their mental health for the day. You can then use it to help to heal. You know how darker colors show negativity, brighter colors show positivity. So if you could combine art and mental healing or motivation, that would be very interesting. And to do that, you could work with a psychologist or you could do an online course. There are free online courses available, children, for every single thing you dream of, think of, feel of. Please go ahead and do it. And of course, Pratha, I'd love to tell you that if you do work with us, that's the first element that I'd like you to work with. Motivation and its composition, and how we can use art and dance to heal and help you become motivated. I also really liked your answer about Earth in 2060, where you spoke about small initiatives, and everyone knows that small steps can make a large difference. So I'm going to put the question to you. What's your small step? Start thinking about it. And if there's a club that you could start in your school, I always say start a club in school, because that way what happens is your teachers know it, your principal knows it, and they encourage you to do something. So a small environmental club called the Small Steps Club, where everyone takes one step, and then you kind of calculate your carbon footprints that you've managed to remove. Little things. Remember, sustainability was a key word, will be a very key word in your future. Okay, so that's a little from me, Pratha. Amy, do you want to jump in with whatever you've heard?
No, I think the suggestions you've given are great. And I think they're definitely aligned with all of her passions and interests. And it's really cool, Pratha, that you're interested in both of these subjects. And the fact that you are interested in both these subjects are actually what can help distinguish you, right, while you're applying.
Yeah.
And just in this small group, Pratha, if you see Parishi speaks about mental health. I don't know if Parishi and you know each other, but if
We
you
know each other. We are from the same college.
right, so how beautiful. You guys can start something together.
Yeah, you guys can work together.
And
That's
children, please don't think you'll have to do everything individual and hide it.
Yeah,
All
no,
rubbish.
No, you have to
The
share.
more you collaborate, the better. So
Correct.
Parishi and Pratha, love to speak with both of you. Later, we can look at profile building for you all together, come up with an idea, but think about it. Mental health, motivation, therapy, everything seems to be repeated. Everything is chemical composition of the brain, neuroscience, chemistry. Okay, sounds good to me. Amy, you want to pick up? Vyom is your child, I'm believing.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello, ma'am.
How are you?
I'm fine, great.
Nice to finally meet you. So do you want to just tell me first about, you're applying this year, correct? You're
Yes,
applying
ma'am.
this year. And what is it that you'd like to major in?
Well, I would like to major in business finance.
Okay, business finance. That's great. Okay. And you're looking at schools in the US, you were saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Fantastic. All right, that's good to know. Now, actually, while I was reading through your entire questionnaire, you seem like someone with already a very strong idea of their interests, their passions, and what they want to do, right? It was so nice to see that you are a passionate poet, right? You write poetry. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, actually? I want to know.
Well, I actually started poetry when I was in my 5th class. It happened that one night, my father just asked me what is the meaning of the word phrase, it's raining cats and dogs. And I was actually confused because I did know about it, but I couldn't just recall it at that point of time. So I went to Google, I searched it, and I got the meaning. It means that raining heavily. Then later on, it happened to be that I just started writing some rhymes, and it all got in a line, and I loved it. So I just created a poem. Next night, my father came back home. I showed him the poem, and he was astonished to see. He was happy, a smile arched on his face. So that's how I started poetry. And then I kept on writing. I'm still doing some things, like I'm doing ramble writing also besides that, and blogging.
And blogging. Wow, that's great. See, already like that theme of being a writer and a poet and someone who's creative is definitely strong. I can see that through your questionnaire. And you love analysis and even public speaking. That's something that you enjoy, correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's true.
That's really great. So there's so many things that I think really make you already stand out as a potential leader. Now, something that I actually would like for you to do is initiate something of yours for yourself. So I did notice, thank you for your honesty as well. In one of your responses, you did mention something about, being bullied, things like that. Do you want to share about that or no? We can talk about this later.
If everyone's okay, it's not a problem.
Is that okay with everyone?
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely fine.
Absolutely, Vyom. If it
Yes.
helps you to talk on a platform,
Yeah.
me and I have worked with a child who was bullied to such an extent that he actually planned to finish his life more than 4 times.
That was something
got into
similar to
UPenn.
my case.
Okay, he's got into UPenn for business. Hey, Vyom, be with us.
Ma'am,
Trust me.
you won't believe me, I'm also trying to get in UPenn, in Cotton Business School. So that's so
Yes.
much similar to my case.
I love your approach, Vyom. I mean, in my mind, I think Amy and I already decided that we are getting you into your college.
Yeah.
But please feel free to talk.
Yeah,
Children, I don't want you to hang up if your analysis is done, simply because we will like to do an open-ended conversation about discussing each other's collaborative efforts. So try to stick on. Thank you.
Yeah. Please go ahead, Vyom. Please do share.
So, ma'am, it was like, I would say I was I was 13 years old, and I used to go to play football with my peers in my neighborhood. So every day we used to go to a certain park, and even the big kids, I would say, and some men also used to play with us. They were really good at playing. It's not that they were not, but it happened to be that they had this kind of attitude to actually just put down somebody else in front of their eye. Like, I guess they liked it. So slowly and steadily, they had this conversation with me because I was actually new in the locality, and everybody got to know about me, and we were playing and we were having conversations. So it happened that these seniors came to me and they had a talk. It was fine. It was good. But next day, I'd say on the first point, I didn't understand what the intentions were, but later on, it all aggravated. And one day it happened that I was just playing, and a boy who had really he was very accurate when it came to shooting. So he just shoot it from a distance, and the ball struck me, and I was in confusion. I was in dilemma, like how did that happen? Because the goal was actually 10 meters away from me. So how that can actually happen with me? So I asked him, Bhaiya, why did you do so? Well, in India, in Hindi, we call Bhaiya the elder one. So I asked him, Bhaiya, why did you do so? I didn't do anything. I didn't do any harm to you. So he said, oh, sorry, my bad. I was actually trying to do the goal, and it didn't make a sense. The next day I came, they all kind of made up a like semicircle. They all made up a group, and they started groping me. So that was a very horrible experience for me as a young teenager who was just discovering himself, coming out of puberty and all things. And at the same point of time, it was happening. And I was so frightened. Actually, I thought something's wrong with me. I have done something wrong, because I can say I was immature at that point of time. And later on, this thing kind of became a cycle. It daily schedule. I'll be coming 5 p.m. to ground, and then we'll be playing. And when we'll be returning back, the same will be happening every day. And everyone knew it, but no one wanted to raise the voice. Even I tried many a times, but it wasn't like that helpful.
We don't want you to say anything more. We get it. Amy, you want to talk about I know what initiative you're going to talk about, I'm sure. So
yeah, no, Vyom, I'm so sorry to hear that. First of all, that's like absolutely horrible. Absolutely no one deserves to be treated like that. And I really appreciate your honesty, and you're very courageous for even sharing that with us. Thank you so much. I honestly just would love for you to see you start your own anti-bullying campaign.
Well, I've been a part of anti-bullying committee in my last school, and I was actually heading that and making sure that I could create a proper environment for students to study and to have that belongingness feeling, and not this antisocial.
Yeah. But it's not just about in your school. It's also, I think you should do one for yourself and within your own community, right? Because bullying affects people not just within the school grounds, right? As you yourself experience it, it happens everywhere, right? And it's an absolute shame. And I think if you could start something of your own and honestly also combine that with your poetry. All right, now what do I mean by that? You could also write a bunch of poems and or even like collate a bunch of different poems that different people who have been through bullying, right, anti-bullying sort of like poetry, with that kind of message and publish that, right? Things like that can definitely explore along with, to coincide with running your own anti-bullying organization and campaign. Now, because you're a writer, a blogger, right, all that, right, will already, you'll be able to use that skill to really launch your own organization, right? And you don't have to do it alone. You can work with classmates or peers or whoever, right, you think would be passionate about this. But I think you have a story of your own, and you I think will 100% be motivated to do something for your own community and fight against this and raise your voice collectively in an organization, right? Not just within your own school. It's great that you did that, but I think you can take it a step further for sure. Yeah, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. On top of that, because you do want to study business and finance, I also would recommend, I mean, have you participated in any business competitions or sort of?
Well, yes, actually, sorry, I didn't mention much on my questionnaire, but yeah, if you want, I'll just list down. I've been active. I'm the secretary of Student Innovation Council at our school, and I'm also the secretary of Commerce Club in our school. So right now we are going to have a Commerce Week in which we'll
Did he freeze?
I think he was, yeah.
Okay.
I've not come across a braver and a more courageous child than Vio.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you can't imagine our lives. We see this every single day. I think that's why we do what we do.
So sad, yeah.
Vyom, but yeah, I hear what you've done. We will, of course, I mean, I'm hoping you're looking to apply to US, come to us. We will not only help you with your essays and your profile building, but there are a couple of things, beta. We need you to do some online course, if possible, in business or finance. 1, 2, we definitely need you to lead an initiative. When you've gone through so much, your ability to stand back tall and fight is what makes you the winner. So we need you to start an initiative. We need you to see if there's a possibility where you start your own. Obviously, we don't have time to have a whole non-profit and get it registered, etc. But start something where you encourage children who've gone through any kind of bullying to come out in an open space, talk about it or write about it without mentioning their names. And you can actually, Amy mentioned that someone self-published a book. You can work on self-publishing a whole book on bullying. And what each one of those children you select, you find them, you work on it. But that kind of an initiative is really, really important for you to do. Okay, and there's a lot for us to discuss, and I'm hoping you come to us because you deserve to go to a great college. And I'll truth be told, I don't know how you are as a student, you'll get into a good college, assuming you're a decent student. So we'll discuss that as well. But any questions about the ideas that Amy and I have shared with you?
not right, not anything for right now.
Do you have anything planned for this summer?
Well, yes, I'll be attending a boot camp at IIT Delhi that I've been planning. So that will be really helpful for me. It is actually the boot camp is actually about innovation and same technology and innovation.
Anything to do with business? Like, can you work with a startup? Can you work with?
Actually, I have a startup idea, and that's why I'm taking it to IIT Delhi to pitch that.
Oh, brilliant. So don't talk about it here in a public forum, but we will discuss that later with you for sure, because that's what I was hoping. Even if you have an idea, we know how to use that to speak the right story. So that was my only ask actually. So great, Vyom. Then I'm super excited actually. So we'll have our conversations on a ladder footing.
Sure.
Perfect. Ninad, I don't know if any of these children are mine. I think all seem to be, Amy, it seems that they're all under you, the ones who are present here.
Okay, yeah. So shall I speak? Malik, are you there?
Yes. Hi.
Hi, Malik. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. All right. So do you want to just tell me what you think you want to major in?
Right. I'm hoping that I mean this is my mind right now. I think I'll be majoring in somewhere in business or economics, somewhere along the lines.
Awesome. Okay, great. Yeah, it seemed like those are the two subjects that you enjoyed the most for sure,
Yeah.
right? That's awesome. And are you looking to apply to the US or?
US, and I'm not particularly looking to apply at any college in the US. I'm looking only for top colleges, and 2-3 colleges in Canada, and then if not there, then I would continue my education in India.
Okay, if not, but US and Canada is your priority,
Yeah.
correct? That's great. So, Malika, I was reading your questionnaire. You seem to be someone who's incredibly active in terms of your extracurriculars. It seems like you really are already very involved, which is a really good sign. The only thing I would say is, I mean, while you're head boy, right, you know, you love debate, it seemed like debating was something that you really enjoyed. And even like you've gone to different competitions to compete on writing and debating, correct, all that kind of stuff. You also really like soccer, and can you tell me more actually about this volunteering at Kailash Children's Foundation?
Right, all right. So, Mr. Kailash Satyarthi, he's a Nobel Prize winner, and I volunteered at their organization under the program Bachpan Bachao Andolan, which is saving the underprivileged kids from exploitation and harassment and any form of child labor which they may be involved in. So I worked at the research department there for almost 2 months. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, great. Great. That's good to know. Now, something that does seem to, I mean, maybe you didn't fill this out in the questionnaire, but are you doing anything like economics or business related right now?
Right now, I mean, I finished taking part. I might have not mentioned that in my questionnaire, but I finished taking part in some competitions in eco and business, and I did some internships as well. And I'm planning to do some internships or courses in my summer vacations in June.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, something that actually stood out to me in your responses was that you definitely have very strong opinions on education being absolutely important
Right.
to uplift, you know, anyone out of potential under like their situation. And on top of that, combating stereotypes and speaking out against like discrimination of any kind, right? So it seemed like you're someone who's very passionate about that. Now, given that you love public speaking, given that you have a lot of experience with debate, I was thinking something that you could do to really add to your profile and make everything kind of come together a little bit better is if you were to work with, say, an NGO or like something like Kailash Children's Foundation, and, you know, to run sort of workshops that are about like anti-discrimination workshops and how you can use your voice, literally you use your voice,
Right.
and invite different speakers and create sort of like events around combating stereotypes, right? You can do one on stereotypes, you could do one on, I don't know, colorism, you could do another, like different forms of discrimination, and how do you actually approach them, given that you really enjoy that. So you could basically host like panel discussions, right, about that with different, not just maybe even this NGO, you could work with any schools, right, in your community, things like that. Right. So it's up to you, like who you'd really like to work with. But I think this would be something that really adds to your profile.
Right. So, like as of right now, since I am the head boy, so our school has a strict anti-bullying policy, and I'm in the same school as Vyom is right now, and we have a strict anti-bullying policy. And as being the head boy, we formed a team. Then we organized anti-bullying drives in our school. We held workshops for smaller children, and we raised awareness against that. We held anti-bullying workshops. We also held no tobacco workshops for the children.
Great, that's good to know. This would be slightly different though, because this would be more along the lines of inviting speakers to come in and talk about, discrimination, or you could pick any other subject that you would like, right? But primarily oriented towards, social justice in that field. Another thing is, have you considered starting your own business?
Not particularly a business, but I remember that I think this past year, around the end of 2022, me and 3 of my friends, we participated in a competition where we pitched our startup idea. I mean, it was very specific to, making life easier for the poor farmers who can't afford much, or who are finding sustainable means to, farming. So we won the second prize in that competition as well, and we're on our way to introduce that idea to for the competition soon.
Okay, great. So at least like that's something you have going on. Also definitely enroll in some sort of online courses as well, both in economics and business, if those are both things that you're excited about. And specifically for economics, you could also, is there an economics club at school?
There's not particularly an economics club, but we do have an economics week in our school.
Okay, great. So definitely getting involved in things like that, right? To really highlight your interest in both. Yeah.
Maulik, love the way you talk. It's so obvious that you're a public speaker. I love your ability to answer, your ability to take a moment before you answer. Phenomenal. Just while you're talking to Amy, I realized if I was an admissions officer, I'd love to see your screen presence. And that's important, right? Because it adds a lot of value. A lot of times what happens is Asian children tend to be stereotyped as in they're nerdy, they're geeky, they're socially awkward. So we want you to be able to rise above that. So it will be lovely if you're ticking all the boxes. You've got a startup idea, you're building a prototype, you're pitching it. You are very strongly connected with your school's leadership. Head boy means if you're looking at a University of California, they are super excited about head boys and head girls. Like, wow. How are you as a student, Maulik?
In academics, I'd say I'm pretty good. My grades dropped a little in 11th grade, but 9th, 10th, they were great. 12th, I'm hoping it will be great.
And have you taken an SAT?
I'm taking the one in June, right?
Okay, so make sure you study for that. That'll add a lot of value to that little dip that might have happened in your academics, okay? In your case, I really feel, Maulik, there's no need to do too much, but get involved. Like Amy said, just try and bring some conclusive actions to all the little things that you have around you. You're applying this year or the next year?
This year, it's on.
Okay, so correctly, so right, Amy, that he should try and actually bring some conclusive, tangible action to what he's doing rather than starting something new, I'm guessing.
Right. That's why I suggested running those sort of like workshops in conjunction with something he's already, like an organization or something he's already doing, right? Because that would definitely add value, right?
Just that little one thing you do and show it as a presence, create a little YouTube video about that thing. You kind of ticked all the boxes of your profile building. What's important for you is going to be your essays.
Yes.
How well do you reflect what you've done and its outcome?
Yeah.
Your eyebrows are telling me you're not the best writer. Is it, Wale?
No, it's not that. It's just like I already have an overview of what I'm going to be writing in my essay.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Good. Be very careful. Remember, it's something called the flow approach. Your failure, your learning, your outcome, and the work you've done towards it all need to be highlighted in the essay. FLOW, children, for all of you. Whether you're applying India, because So many of the top colleges in India are asking for essays. Your SOP needs to have your failure, learning, outcome, working experience, okay? If you only cry about your failures, no one's reading. If you're only going to talk about all your achievements, no one's reading. You need to make sure these are highlighted, Maulik. So be careful. We don't want you to come across as someone who's just achieved. We want you to come across someone who's realized what it is to fail and thus chosen the path of achievement.
Right, sure.
Okay.
Definitely, I'll do.
Sounds good.
I'm sorry, I'm just interfering. I'm just curious. Both Maulik and Vyom are from the same school. Are both of you based in India, Maulik?
Yeah, we are.
Yes.
Okay, which city, if I may, if
We're in Gurgaon.
Kaushal, we wouldn't like personal questions at all. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
We don't want the children's personalities or their privacy to be disturbed in any way. Sorry about that. Maulik, awesome. No worries, Kaushal. Is Adi here? I'm supposed to do the analysis for Adi. Is he there? Advika, you have a question, my dear?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you have a raised hand, so we were wondering.
Priyanka, can I ask a question?
Who's this?
While the time Adi is joining. I'm Vyom.
Yes, absolutely.
Ma'am, can you please again repeat the full form of the acronym FLOW that you used?
100%. Failures, learnings, outcomes, and the work done towards it.
Okay, ma'am. So
Makes
that
sense,
the work that the word work here means that what the efforts, what was the process?
Action.
Okay.
Action.
Okay. Thank you.
Because there was nothing like flow, so I made it flow. This is designed by myself. So, okay, I don't see here Adi. Amy,
His phone is switched off. Let me just if he joins up, I'll let you know, ma'am.
Should I move on with Advika?
And Amy, I'll do Ananya once you finish Advika.
Sure. Hi, Advika.
Hi, ma'am.
How are you?
Yes, I'm fine.
I'm great. So why don't you tell me, but start by telling me, what would you like to major in?
Biology.
Biology, awesome. Great. And what colleges are you looking at? Like where? US, Canada?
Looking for universities in India, mainly Ashoka, MIT, or 3I University.
Okay. Great. Awesome. All right. And you're applying next year.
Yes, I'm applying next year.
Correct. Right. So you're in that. Great. That's fantastic. Okay. So what really stood out to me in your questionnaire was you seem to have a lot of interest in art and in chemistry. So what I thought was interesting was perhaps you could write or kind of have sessions that are related to art therapy, right? And even if you start a chemistry club, for example, at your school, do you have an extracurricular?
As of now, we don't have any clubs in our school.
Right, exactly. So say if you wanted to start your own organization or just an Instagram page, for example, where you can feature uses of chemistry and art, right? Combining those two interests and feature different, I don't know, topics or posts like that. And on top of that, I think incorporating art therapy into perhaps an organization that conducts art therapy as a means of, helping people navigate through perhaps difficult times. And I think in one of your responses, you really highlighted your desire to help people, potentially who are struggling with, social situations, social anxiety and awkwardness and things like that. And maybe art therapy, because you love it. Art could be a really great way to bring people together to express themselves and connect better. Right. So perhaps you could hold art sessions, things like that, where you're able to bring everyone together. Now, in terms of majoring in biology, research would also be very important. Are you currently doing anything like that? Probably not.
No, not now. We have a subject like IPQ. So
yeah.
But I'm not taking anything related to bio in my IPQ. My topic is environment. So it's nothing related to bio.
Okay, when you say your topic's environment, what exactly, do you know what you're going to be writing about? Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, I want to take bio as my major. I'm planning to become a pathologist.
Mhm.
But as of now, I did not start any research in that particular field in depth.
Okay. Okay. Perhaps you could look into, I don't know if India has many offerings, but you could look into doing some research or even interning at some sort of lab. Yeah, if you want to be a pathologist, I think that's something that you could look into, like an internship of some sort, even if like you're a research analyst at a lab, something like that. Is that something that you are looking into?
Yeah, I would love to research in some lab, but in India, I don't know. There's not much opportunities, and
Yeah.
it is quite difficult to do
Difficult.
so since I've just started my studies like in 11th
Yeah.
grade. So
Right.
I'm very
There are programs that do offer you that kind of exposure, like summer online programs, things like that, that will give you that kind of exposure, even if it's not maybe a physical sort of program right now, right? That's okay.
yes, okay.
Yeah, and definitely enroll in some online courses as well.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. So online courses related to biology in particular, pathology, right? Be more, the more specific of your course, especially if it's aligned with what you want to study, the better it'd be.
Advika, you should know that there are a lot of paid research programs that are available, but otherwise, if you can reach out, I don't know if you have a LinkedIn. If you have a LinkedIn, it's a social platform for working people, but a lot of students have gone onto it. And I think it's really changed the face for students, where you can reach out to professors and say, look, this is the area of interest I have within pathology. This is my area that I'd like to research in. I read your paper, I read about you and found it super interesting. Can I be a part of your research team? Can I volunteer or can I be an assistant to you? And you know, it's strange, but it's true that a lot of our children who've done that, they send out such maybe cold letters, as they're known as, to 20 people, 3 to 4 reply back, and sometimes they actually get an opportunity. So I would strongly recommend Advika, because I think Amy is really right, is that anything to, and I know how the schools in India have become, they're looking for this as well. And I know what you mean, India is not offering it, but maybe a summer program, maybe a work shadow will add value to you, beta.
Yes, okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Any questions, Bacha?
No, nothing as of now.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Most welcome. I saw a raised hand, someone. Did someone have a question? No, I'm guessing. Okay, Ananya, let's move to you. Can I have your video when you unmuted, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, Ananya. Where are you planning to apply?
I want to apply to IIM Indore.
Nice. Give me a second. And what do you want to apply with?
Like the course?
Yes.
Management. Business management.
Okay, interesting. Okay, let me go through your form. What I found very interesting, which adds a lot of value to, is math. If you want to do management, having skills in math is a given. Okay, and IIMs, you know, are very big on math. I love the fact that you like AI a lot. Now, AI with business and startups is going to be the most revolutionary curve. So it would be lovely to see if there is some idea you have or something you've done with AI, because that will add a lot of value when you're doing your interview with IIM as well. Because they ask you.
Well, I have this business idea which involves developing this kind of technology or app, which will involve AI kind of, and I am taking part in AI bootcamp and like trying to gain knowledge on the topic.
Nice, very good. That will add a lot of value to your IIM Indore, because I've just had one child who's applied, so I know what goes into it. Obviously, all your extracurricular activities become a little redundant for IIM, so I'm not going in that area. But what I do like is you spoke about conscientious, creative problem solving. Now, assuming that You have a need to be conscientious and problem solving. And we'd like to see that. How have you done it? Is very, very important to me. And one of the areas where I thought you answered very, very beautifully was environment. Now, I don't know if you've given it a thought or not, but your answer very clearly says it makes me mad, even though we're well aware about the deteriorating climatic conditions and the adverse effects, yet we continue with our damaging habits, including projects like Project Willow, right, which have obviously led to detrimental effects on the environment, are still green lighted. Loved it. That's a very powerful answer that is actually showing your ability to be connected to the real events that are happening in the world. Beta, sustainability is very, very important. If business and sustainability, if you could start a voice, you could have some sort of an activism of what are these projects that are happening? Why are they being green lighted? How are they impacting? And it'll also help you overcome your own anxieties of being able to do public speaking. You can make them into little YouTube video series so that young children from your school, your peers, your youngsters, your juniors can hear it and understand what that is. You ask me to read a whole project, I'm not going to read it. But if you explain it to me in 2 minutes and kind of talk about how is this impacting my world and thus how is it impacting me, I'd love to know. If you're
do you want me to explain about Project Willow?
Yeah. So make it literally take one project, explain the project, talk about its pros, talk about its cons, and talk about the environmental impact. Why? What is it actually doing to the world? It would be fantastic. 2 minutes videos. And even if you don't want to show your face, that's fine. Make a little cartoon for yourself and talk. You know, you could be holding the world on your like on a hunchback, or 5, 6 of you could be holding it, saying, you know, the world's pressure is on us. What are we doing about it? And start that way.
I believe this is a really great idea because I really like art. So animating the video, I feel like that's a great thing.
Well, and you know, my intent is looking at IIM Indore for you. They're very big on leadership. And leadership outside of just, you know, you say, oh, I worked in McKinsey. They don't care. They're going to say, what have you done to impact leadership? Okay, so idea for a world take on environment would really help. And make small YouTube videos. Okay, with animation. Sounds good? Any questions?
No.
Where else are you applying? Are you applying to Jindal? Are you applying to Flame? Are you applying to?
Well, if I don't get into IIM Indore, my second plan is BU, but I really want to get into IIM Indore.
BU as in?
Delhi University.
DU, okay, sorry. Delhi University, got it. I really think you should take a look at the Jindal School of Business as well. I have a feeling it'll be a good fit for you. Ananya, I don't know you very well, but I feel. Take a look. Okay. So yes. That's from my side. Amy, for Ananya, you want to choose the next student?
Yes, I think Kanan. Hello.
Yes.
Hi, Kanan. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great. So nice to meet you. So Kanan, do you want to tell me a little bit about what you'd like to study?
Ma'am, I would like to do majors in geography, education, and training.
Oh, wow. Geography, education, and?
Training.
Okay, and training. Awesome. And you're looking to apply in?
In Australia, in Southern Queensland University.
Oh, wow. That's very specific. That's great. Good to know. Southern Queensland University. Awesome. Awesome. Really good to know. All right. And you are currently in which grade?
Ma'am, I'm in 12th grade.
12th grade. So you're applying this year. That's good to know as well. All right. So Kanan, because you do have a wide range of interests, I mean, I could see that you love history, geography. Your explanations for why you loved each subject was really, really nice to see. You even mentioned that you enjoy things like gardening in particular and propagating plants. Now, I really had like a visual of you propagating your plants everywhere as a means of like de-stressing and enjoying yourself. So I actually thought, why don't you combine your love for propagating plants and restoration of nature, because you did mention that in one of your responses, you are particularly passionate about, fighting against carbon emissions and, bringing sustainable products into people's lives. So on one hand, I think you could perhaps like start a little page, like an Instagram page, where you show people how to propagate their own plants, right? And instead of, buying a new plant, you can actually, this is the power of nature, and you can like document. I kind of feel like this is step 1 of propagating a plant. This is step 2, etc. And then you could share that on social media, and you can share with people your gardening experiences, etc., and build a little community around that. You might not have too much time, but even if you just get your school friends and school community involved in terms of like following you, etc., and sharing your videos, that would be great. Another thing is you mentioned something very specific about combating like carbon emissions, or like being able to pick more sustainable products, right? You mentioned using like paper pens, for example, instead of plastic ones that we currently use. In fact, I actually am using one that is biodegradable, just so you know. But things like this can also be featured on your page, right? Sustainable alternative products, right? You could kind of highlight all of that on your social media page. Now, how is that at all related to even geography? Well, perhaps you could combine it with locally sourced sustainable products, and it can give, I guess, like viewers an idea of what exists in the Indian market, right? What grows in India as a result. So how can we use that to be recycled and be reused in different ways? Another thing is that you love education, right, and training. Well, on an Instagram page, if you're showing people, right, the different products, how do you go shopping sustainably, right? Or how do you propagate your plants, things like that. You're already showcasing that you have that skill and talent of training, of education, right? So I think your Instagram like sort of page, it could be about like sustainable lifestyle. You could call it whatever you'd like, where you feature things like gardening and sustainable products, sustainable like shopping, etc. All these things. It could really help you in bolstering your sort of your interest in both education and geography, things like that. Yeah, how does that sound?
Yes, ma'am, it sounds great.
I mean, do you like using social media? I feel like everyone uses social media these days.
Mostly I like it.
Yeah, mostly like, okay. I mean, even if it's a YouTube page, whatever it is, whatever you feel like, but I feel like social media is very easy, right? Everyone has access to it. So, building content and then sharing it will be quite straightforward for you. On top of that, I guess you could also always enroll in some online courses. Have you done that?
Not yet.
Okay, got it. That's fine. But that's something you should look into as well. I think to again show colleges that this is what I'm interested in, especially in Australia. Like they want you to have like experience. And so if there's no education, training, geography in terms of experience, then online course will help, and even like some sort of an internship, right, could also help you, like an education and training sort of internship.
Mom, I have a question.
Yeah.
How can we apply in Australia? Do we have to go there, or we can apply from India?
You definitely can apply from India, definitely. Applications are open to people all over the world, right? So it's generally all done online.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kannan, why are you looking only at Australia? Just curious.
Ma'am, it seems nearer from India.
That's the reason. Oh my gosh, it's not, my love. Singapore is closer, Middle East is closer, even UK is closer.
It sounds like you've done research though, insofar as like Southern Queensland University, like you know exactly which one you'd like to apply to.
That's why I was wondering, like, is she alum? Does she have a sibling there? What is it? Kannan, you have a very, very incredible major that you've chosen.
Mm-hmm.
Speak with your parents. Don't be limited to one country. Because your chances, if you're a good student, your chances of getting a scholarship in a lot of the countries will be very high.
Thank you, Ma'am.
Thank you, Kanan.
Amy, I can give you a break and take on Advika. I've done the analysis if you want. And I think that's also the last student, isn't it?
I think we already spoke to Advika.
Advika's done?
Yes.
Advika, are you done?
Yes.
Awesome. So I think we're kind of done then with all the children. So children, we're open to questions now.
Yes.
Unmute yourself. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like about the session. We do this for free. We are feeding for some sort of advice from you all. You have to tell us if it's good, bad, ugly.
Yeah, we
So
want feedback. Please, please.
Hi, so can I start?
Yes, please, Maulik. Appreciate you starting.
Yeah, I loved the session, and before I joined in, I didn't know that there would be just a few selected people. I thought it would be a general webinar, 50 people, 100 people, a general motivation or a general advice to everyone applying for colleges. But when I got in and I got to know there are around 7-8 people, I was really impressed by the fact that, we could have individual attention, we could have our profiles analyzed by you guys. That was a great part on you guys. Well done for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maulik. I'm glad you appreciated it.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Good or bad? It doesn't matter.
Yes.
Parishi, yes.
So first of all, thank you so much for hosting this session. It was amazing, and doing it for free is a very big deal. And I was very happy to see people who are like-minded, who are so passionate about their career, what they want to do. And thank you to both of you for initiating this, for giving us clarity and a path and answering our questions majorly. So a very great session. Thank you.
Thank you, Parishi. I can see you have a huge motivational family. Your dad is so motivated, and I really appreciate that. It means a lot, Parishi, and I see you going ahead, so that's good.
Thank you, Parishi.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Priyanka. I just heard you appreciate. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kaushal. Yes, and I saw someone unmute themselves.
Yeah.
Yes, Pratha.
The session was really nice, like the way you analyzed our questionnaires and then you gave us advices on our, like the way you said me that I could connect, I could have a club in my college, and the way you gave me advices were really good. I had a question, like
Sure, Pratha.
As you know, Parishi and Advika said that we have the subject named IPQ in our college where we write research paper. So I haven't opted for that subject. So is it important for me to write research paper or opt for that subject?
Pratha, will you remind me, my love, what major do you want to do and what college? I know I've done your analysis here. I'll look it up as well. But can you remind me, please?
Yeah, I want to do in designing, UX, UI designing, and
right. Not for you at all, Beta. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Don't worry at all. Research is very, very systemically a part of certain subjects and not systemically part of certain subjects, Pratha.
Okay.
I'd rather you take that much time to focus on building your portfolio.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
But children, what is most important? Thank you for all the amazing, incredible support and motivation you've given to us. That's what keeps us going. But remember, applications are due, and before you realize it, 6 months becomes 6 days. Please, if you're looking to sign up for a mentor, for a counselor, for any kind of extra advice, do so now. Whether it's Amy or me or not, whether it's someone else or not, but do so now so that you'll have someone who's just kind of walking the path with y'all while y'all are doing it. Because one thing I am feeling with this small group is, it seems y'all are a little over the place about the country y'all want to apply to. Y'all are solid about the majors y'all want to apply to, which is wow. But the countries, why you're choosing that country? How is it adding value? What kind of costs and financial structures go into that country? Maybe something you all haven't thought about it enough. So if you're looking at it, I'm going to have Ninad send you all a brief brochure after this call. Go through it. We have all kinds of customized support, including just taking 1 hour of our time. So please go ahead and do that. It's called the customized support. Go ahead and do it so that at least y'all are in the right track. Okay, sounds good?
Yes,
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Take care.
Yes, ma'am.
Vyom, did you have a question? I see a raised hand.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I just wanted to ask, I'm pursuing investment banking for my career later on. So will my writing skills or my poetry or in any sense my written art will help me in any sense in my career, in my job, investment banking?
Amy, you want me to get that or you want to get that?
No, Vyom, of course. I mean, just because you're an investment banker doesn't mean that you should not be exploring your other passions and interests, right? I mean, if you look at writing, right, even poetry, that involves a lot of creativity, involves a lot of imagination, it involves being articulate. All of these things are also required in a different way to analyze and figure out, okay, which stocks, which portfolios, all that stuff. And ultimately, communication skills are incredibly important in any job that you're doing, right? So I would 100% say that yes, art, poetry, writing is absolutely going to add value to you in your career. Imagine like a finance or an investment banker who has no social skills, does not know how to write, can't communicate very well. I mean, between the two, right? Like the person who's a strong writer, a strong communicator, obviously has an edge, right? So I definitely don't think that art does not have a space in finance or banking, right? And people aren't one-dimensional. No one's one-dimensional. You definitely should invest in your passions, invest in your interests.
Okay, thank you very much.
Vyom, if I may add, my son's into venture capitalists and private equity, and writing is something he cannot do without. Every single day there's a presentation that they have to make, plus the clients you meet, plus the networking you have to do. What are you going to talk about? Are you going to go up to them and say, okay, let's just talk IB? They'll be like, get out. But if you say, hey, oh, I saw you have an interest in reading fiction. You know, I was also into poetry. Oh, you attended the Lit Fest. Oh, so have I. What did you do? It's conversation making. That's why US, that's why liberal arts. Because the truth is, everything's about networking at the end of the day. And having an extra skill is what helps you network.
Thank you very much, Priyanka.
All right, I'm assuming no other questions. Thank you, Ninad, as always. Amy, I think the two of us make the most fantastic combination together. Really appreciate you doing this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This has been so rewarding. And I'm just so excited to see all these students with different ideas and to finally actually meet you guys, not just like look at your names on a questionnaire, was definitely a great experience. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Enjoy your weekend.
Bye.